DorkLair! Welcome to another DorkLair collecting video. Today I am doing something that was heavily requested by folks on Facebook and other social media. So this is something very different for me, and I am very much a beginner when it comes to painting things. But I posted the other day this head sculpt here that I painted. So what's going on right now is Mezco is shipping out for $25. They're selling a bag of heads, a bag of skulls that fit on the Gomez bodies, and in a variety of different colors. So you get 12 heads for 25 plus shipping. Comes out to be like $3 a head, which is a great price for heads. And so I took the purple head and I did a black wash, and then I did some dry brushing over the top, and this is how it looks. And a lot of people want me to share. Now, the reason why I don't have this on a figure yet is because I haven't actually sealed it yet. It turns out it's like 30 degrees today, and I want it to be a little bit warmer to go outside to spray it. So I still have to seal it. But this is one of the supplies you'll probably want to get if you're going to do what I'm doing, which is the dull coat from Testors. And then the other supplies you need really is a couple paintbrushes and some paints. So I have Vallejo black. What I'm going to use this for is I'm going to thin it out and make the wash. But it's going to be a thick wash. I'm going to wipe it off. And then some white and some red, and those will be for the dry brush over the top. Now I'm going to use the red head. I know it looks orange, but you can see there is an orange head too. But I'm going to use a red head. And we'll see how it comes out. I don't really know. Like I said, I'm a beginner, so this is a lot of trial and error for me. But it is basic techniques. It's pretty simple. And it may end up being a little pink because, when I mix red and white, it's going to be pink. So we'll see how that comes out. I'll probably add a little black to it. But again, trial and error as I mix those up a little bit. And, be willing to experiment a bit and be willing to understand that if you kind of screw it up as you're going, you can wash it right off. The acrylic paints with some like water, you can wash it off. In fact, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to wash the head. So let's jump into this thing. So I'm over at my sink now, and I just have a little bowl of soapy water, very just like sort of warm soapy water, and I'm going to drop the head in there, and I'm just going to scrub it. And then if at any point you sort of mess up, especially in the part where you're doing the wash, if it just doesn't look right, you can just kind of do this and just wash it right off, and it'll come clean, and it'll be like a fresh head again, and you can kind of start over. So basically I'm doing this because, if there's any sort of anything on there, it just kind of cleans up the head and preps it to receive the paint. I generally do this whenever I'm going to paint something. So just kind of do that, and then rinse it off, and then leave that handy because later on you might want to use it again, like I said, to clean up any like messes that might happen. Now I'm just going to let this dry, and then I'll come back and I'll do the black wash. So while we're waiting for this thing to dry, if you have some skewers around, it can make things a lot easier because you're going to want something to like hold the head up. So what I usually do is take a skewer, just like from, like cooking skewer, and get a little bit of like a folded over paper towel piece, and then shove that in there. You want it nice and tight because you're going to be painting and you don't want it to go flopping around. But yeah, let that dry. While this is drying, I'm going to take my my black, and I have one of these little palette things that I use. You could use like a little tray from an action figure or something, or a paper plate, whatever you want to do to mix it up, but I kind of use these. So I'm going to add a little black, and then I'm going to add just a small amount of water. I just have a little jar of water handy just so that I can have water available. So I'm just going to sort of drop in some water here, if it'll take it. and then mix it around. Get that a little bit looser. I'm probably going to add a little bit more. It's kind of a wash, or, it's just sort of, it's just watered down black. But it's not quite a full wash because I want it to go on real thick. And then I want to wipe it off. So at this point, I'm going to want some paper towels handy. And this is where it's going to get weird because I'm not used to filming something like this. And I got to look at the figure, not the camera. So it might go out of focus while I'm doing this a little bit. But at this point, you want to have some paper towels handy. And as you coat the head, I'm pretty much going to coat the whole head in black. And then I'm going to wipe it. I'm going to wipe it off. So basically going to paint the whole head, get in the eyes, get everywhere. Just paint the whole head black. And then I'm going to immediately wipe it off. Make sure you get into the little cracks and crevices and stuff. So when I wipe it off, I want to try to make sure it stays in those cracks. So I'm going to kind of wipe lightly as I do this. Try to get it back in camera here. So that it almost becomes like this oily sort of red color. And try to leave it in the cracks and stuff. And then, if you feel like you mess up, you can go back and clean the whole thing off with that soapy water and toothbrush. But you can see how it's kind of staying in the cracks and stuff. And just clean up any parts that seem overly covered. There's a crack along the top of the head that could use a little bit more there. So I'm literally just gonna, let's see, sort of right there is that crack. Try to be a little bit lighter this time as I wipe it. Whoops. Sorry about the camera angles. Again, just trial and error, kind of wiping. You can go heavy or you can go light. And we'll see how this goes. I think I gotta get a little bit off over here. And it looks messy now, but once we add on once we do the dry brush, it should look pretty good. So, and then kind of leaving the paint in the eyes. The eyes are what's going to take a while to dry because there's a lot of paint in there. I'm actually going to dab just a little bit in there, just to make sure it's not pooled up in the eyes. And again, be willing to experiment a little bit, and be aware that I am very much a beginner when it comes to this stuff. I just know a lot of people ask me to share this, so I think that looks decent. If I wanted right now, I could go over to the. Actually, I'll do it. I'll show you guys. So if you do feel like it's just not looking right for you, just take the head and literally wash it off. I'm actually going to do it by hand. You should be able to get all the paint off. And just like that, I'm back to square one, and I can sort of paint it up again, which I won't bore you with doing that process again, but I'll do that, and then I'll come back and I will show you the dry brushing. Okay, so I think this thing is pretty much dry now. Maybe in the eyes where it's really thick in there, it might not be, but I'm not painting the eyes right now anyway, nor do I think I'll paint them at all. So the next step is to do dry brushing, and that's basically exactly what it sounds like. You're just going to put brush on paint on the brush. You're going to pretty much wipe most of it off the brush, and then you're just going to lightly sort of go over it like that. Okay, and let me show you what I'm going to use. So the primary ingredient here is going to be white. So I'll put a decent amount of white in there, and then I'm going to put a drop of red to basically making pink here, but I might add a little black. To give it a little bit of a deeper color. I used some other colors with the purple one, but I just wanted to keep it simple and just show you it doesn't take much. I think I'm going to add more white. Oh, we'll see. Let me see what happens when I add the black. And again, you just got to kind of mess around, a little trial and error, and see what you come up with. Just a little dab of black. Hopefully that doesn't get it too dark. If not, I'll add more white. So blackish, grayish. Yeah, I gotta add more white. A little more white. And then that should be about what I'm gonna do. That's too gray for me. I think I'm gonna start over and not use any black. I just don't think that's going to be the right color that I want. So I'm going to wash my brush. And I'm going to just start over. I'm not great at mixing paints. I'm a total beginner at this stuff, so. And just a little dab of red. Let's see. Sorry if this part's boring. A little more red, and I think I should be good to go. Yep. So basically like a very light pink color. Okay, so now the key here, I'm going to get extra paper towels. So the key here is going to be to get as much of this off the brush as you can. And it's going to be a lot of wasted paint. It's going to feel like you're wasting a lot of paint because you're really not using much of this supply. You just have to use it to mix. And so I want to pretty much get to the point where I can barely see it, and it helps to use your hand. So that's like, for me, like that's like way too much still. So I'm going to wipe more off and then test it on my hand again. And you'll notice, like, if you do it very lightly, it just puts a little bit on, and if you do it very push down on it a lot goes on. So this is all about that super light touch. And so now I'm just going to brush on top of it. And again, I apologize if the camera work isn't great here. But you just sort of want to do it lightly and get, kind of one coat and then take a look and see where you are. So, this is where I am right now. I'm probably going to be adding a lot more here, but it's starting to come together as sort of that boniness. And I want to get under the chin too. kind of go heavier on the teeth. I might need to add more on my brush. But okay. And you'll see it start to come together. It's really quite nice. And again, this is just super easy, very low skill level stuff here. And yeah, there it is. You know, I might spend a little more time on it, but it's pretty much the same effect as the other head that I had. If I can find it. It's around here somewhere. So here's the red one, and then here's the purple one. Very similar, but a little bit different. And then so the red next to what it looked like before, side by side. So something you can very simply do at home. You just got to get a couple paints and do a thick wash, wipe it off, and then do a dry brush. So apologize for the video quality here. I hope you enjoyed it. My next step is going to be to spray it with a clear coat, and that kind of seals everything in, and then I can come back if I want and like really get the eyes like dark black and come over the top, and then spray it one more time to really seal it off for good. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much my video. I think I want to get a little more right here on those teeth. Over there. Maybe a bit right here. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may the force be with you.
Follow me into